Okay, we're on.
We're on.
We should be good.
We'll get that.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call to order the special meeting, September 5th, New Harmony Town Council, with discussions being in regards to retention proposal for Carla Atkins, former clerk treasurer, outside consultants hiring, and town marshal hiring, and fire hydrants, labor approval, I guess is how I worded that, so. Okay, we'll open up with the retention proposal. I have a copy of what Ann had put out to us here for Carla. Do you want to read through your recommendation, Ann, to us on the
Sure.
proposal?
Back on August 23rd, I sent a letter to you guys about kind of my expectations of what I hoped would happen with her help. There's, I've said again and again, there's a lot of stuff, like I'm just getting ready to close out only the second month that I've ever closed out, and I'm about halfway through that. Have never done a quarter close, so there's some big things coming up that I'm gonna need her assistance with. So we negotiated with her. She initially came to us with a plan for cost per month, and then we pushed back and we got what per hour amount. So we got that. Then she requested that she just stays on payroll so she doesn't have to mess with the taxes. Of course, because it's a part-time, she gets no benefits, no in-purse or anything like that. So then to get her, we did she reminded me, thank goodness, about what they did for Bobby and did the ordinance. And I gave Jeff one copy that you had to put it on there. It's like a special pay for someone. So I added on there how we could pay her. So it's approving the ordinance and then approving that I can go ahead and move with her.
At the bottom.
It says special administration,
We would be
Okay.
making an
or maybe
amendment.
it's on the third.
It's on right there, yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
We would be amending the current ordinance and adding that section there,
That is correct.
and that is something we could do today with a unanimous in attendance vote. Go ahead, any discussion or
Well,
anything else? Ann?
because we are actually amending an ordinance here, I think it probably should be read, so the public knows what it's saying. and
Just
everything.
that section?
Yeah, just that
Sure,
section,
sure.
yeah.
And Ann can read it, or I can read it, either one, it doesn't matter.
I think it probably needs to be one of us read it.
Okay.
So,
You go
okay.
ahead, go ahead, you got it. That's
Okay,
right.
so this is this is a proposal to amend ordinance number, the salary ordinance for the town of New Harmony to create a new classification, which is called administrative consultant. And it reads as follows: the administrative consultant shall be paid an hourly rate of $100 per hour based upon a minimum of 15 minutes per communication. This position is established as a consultant to the clerk treasurer effective September 1st, 2024. This is a part-time position, and said position does not receive benefits or holiday pay. The administrative consultant shall be paid monthly on the second payroll of the month. The administrative consultant shall be paid 10% of the general fund and 30% each of the gas, water, and wastewater utilities. So that's what we're amending the ordinance to state.
Okay,
I appreciate her expertise as far as where to draw those funds to pay her.
And I would go ahead and move that we adopt,
we got a
and then we
motion
can start
to adopt
discussion.
and a second. Now, discussion on that. Anybody else have, one question I might have, and Ann, or you guys have talked to some of these other consultants, will this cover, you think that same cost cover if we add
Well, if
the
we,
other consultants? I mean,
if
we're
we
gonna
do
have to
other
amend it again?
consultants,
No,
if we
they'll
do
be
other consultants,
freelance.
we don't need to do that because they're not on the
They'll
payroll.
be freelance.
Oh, they'll be private.
That'll
consultants.
just be a
Okay, you're right,
contractual
you're correct.
agreement.
We
Thank
may
you.
have to pay more per hour.
Yeah, that's
depending
right.
on
Yeah.
who we hire.
Yeah,
I don't-
you're correct. It wouldn't have to, it wouldn't be on
I-
payroll.
I do have one question, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, my question is, does she need to sign her timesheet?
Yeah, she'll have to fill
because
one
she's
out.
an employee,
Correct.
so your plans at least for you to keep track of those, and then she'll come in and sign the timesheet before we do the payroll. Okay.
Yep.
And go
My
ahead, we'll
question
get-
is, so all questions will go through you,
Yeah, that's what.
correct? So the maintenance guys will not be calling Carla directly.
And if they
Everything.
do, she understands those hours don't count.
Right. And a matter of fact, she was in here yesterday, and when this thing all blew up, she reminded again, I don't work here.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
reminded him, so
Well,
she's very aware of
Because
that.
I was in here one day whenever she came in, and all of a sudden, I had a question for her because I knew she would know the answer, and it just dawned on me, okay, wait a minute, every time she walks in here,
Yeah.
somebody's probably gonna have a question for her. You'll be in charge of managing that with her on, okay, we got deep enough here, I'm gonna count that as a 15-minute interval or not. That's your call.
Correct.
Because that will be difficult, I think.
Okay.
She's been a big source for a lot of people answering questions, I know, so it's easy
Right.
for somebody to wanna pick up the phone and text her or call her or something, which.
Yeah,
it
there'll be
just-
a whole lot of, oh, by the way, since you're here, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to realize we're not gonna always know the answers.
Right.
All
Well,
of them going forward, but we'll
right,
figure them
Sure,
out.
sure.
Right.
Exactly. And so you'll keep that time list going,
Yep.
and then she'll sign off on it, whatever you and her are in agreement with, it's
Mhm.
for the week. Okay. Anybody else got any other questions or
Nope.
discussions? Ann, you got anything else to add on that?
No, thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right.
Now, all of that being said, might I ask, do you, there are other consultants that you have kind of
That's-
reached out
That's
to?
on our
That's
list,
next.
that's on our list.
I
Yeah.
beg your pardon.
today.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, next was, what do I have here next? Oh, outside consultant, that's next, go ahead, right? I guess we'll listen to you on that at this point too, Ann, see
Okay.
where you're at on that.
So Rod and I had talked, and he gave me a great list of people to reach out to. He and I had also talked to Jay Southwood of NJS. I didn't realize it, but Jay also works full-time. He works for an engineering firm, and then he's got other former clerk treasurers that work with him. So this is kind of a side gig for him. Then I also reached out
Hey.
to,
By the way, for their benefit, because I think, well, Tom wasn't there, but a lot of us met Jay up at the trade show up at Indianapolis.
And the other ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He, Jay, was clerk treasurer for whatever the town is. It's a small town, maybe not as small as us, but he was clerk treasurer for 30 years. Then he retired, became a town council member, did that for 4 years or something, and then they needed a clerk treasurer again, and he was back as clerk treasurer. Is he currently?
he's not.
No.
He
No.
he did it a second stint, and now he's totally out. He has a job as an engineer, but he's also doing this on the side.
Yeah, and he's hired a few people to help him. So talked to him yesterday, and we talked through a lot of stuff. So as you can imagine, he's a little bit more old school, but so helpful. And, I talked to him about, I'm kind of looking at this as Carla's transitioning me to get the job done, and they're gonna help transition me to how can we do some things different? How can we get bills paid online?
Right.
Some things like that.
Right.
So some of the people he talked about in his group were very competent to do that. Now, they charge $90 per hour. Then I called this Susie Bass, and they're out of Mount Washington, Kentucky. I think it's close to Louisville or somewhere, and Janet Alexander. Extremely advanced and proactive, and asked me a bunch of questions about how I was currently doing things. Oh, there's some different ways that you can do that. Oh my goodness, yes, we can get you hooked up. So they're both very good, a little bit different. I think they can both help me get to where I want. I think Susie Bass and group can do it quicker. He's $90 an hour. They're $150. So it's a big difference.
Is that the other group that you were, the
Yes,
other
yes.
two ladies or whatever?
We met
Yeah,
her
yeah.
in Indy.
I
You
didn't
and I
realize
had
they
a
were from-
conversation with her.
Being from
Yeah.
Kentucky, but they're familiar with
Well,
State Board
one
of
lives
Accounts.
in Indiana, one lives
Gotcha,
in
gotcha.
Kentucky.
That's the only thing I
Yeah,
was wondering
Franklin,
about.
Indiana.
Right.
They couldn't start for a month out. He said he would talk to me tomorrow, today if he wanted to, so he can start right away.
It's all.
Do either of them require contracting, or can we just engage them and pay them as we by the
No,
hour?
that,
Yeah,
That's-
we've got contracts that talk about the scope and confidentiality and things like
Right.
that, but we just pay them by the hour.
So we're not obligated to any amount.
We could use both maybe then.
we conceivably you could.
You could have them both on the
I mean,
phone, you know, I mean, if you chose to.
This is what I know about it. And we, this was on our list for later, what you and I were gonna talk about. So Poseyville has used Jay as a consultant for some number of years. They have had a big turnover in Poseyville, and their clerk treasurer quit pretty unceremoniously. And so someone who had worked for the school corporation, who was elected last November as a town council member, Jody Rankin, I had a long conversation with her. She said the previous clerk treasurer had used him. And as far as she knew, it was okay. Pretty old school, same idea. She has engaged the local government services people, the two women, and
Oh, she's working with them now?
yes, because everything was new, they had a long-term clerk treasurer, they wanted to kind of start from scratch and get some new ideas. She said she's thrilled with them. They only bill, they bill 15 minutes at a time, which is where I got that idea for our situation. I think, and especially if you've talked to them and you had the same impression, my opinion would be, let's go with the people that can tell you the most about moving forward quickly. Because quickly is important when you're talking about consultants.
Well, we
You
have
know?
Carla for the old school as well. So
Well, that's
a
right.
little redundant maybe.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
And
right.
just to let you know, one thing I talked to him about, I said, I would like them to come in here for at least a day and observe. That's one thing. And they
Right.
said they could easily do that. I said, two big things that I want to look at is how to get the billing online. I said also to look at record retention. I need some help
Oh, yeah.
figuring out what to do there. I'm starting to order some boxes. At least I'm gonna get stuff packed up and labeled correctly and get it so I can find stuff.
Right.
And also I talked to him about recommended training, for me too.
Yeah.
Like
Of
when
all
I-
the different places you could get training, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
and
That's
understand
excellent.
the hours and
Clint,
all
Right.
that.
Clint next week may give you some advice on all
The
that
AIM guy,
side.
yeah.
You may not need to,
I thought he was coming in
Today.
today. It's next.
it's the 10th,
It's
isn't
the
it?
10th.
It's
Oh,
the
okay,
10th.
that's right. It
Oh,
is
the cookie
10th.
day.
Yeah, the cookie
That's
day,
right.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right, you're right.
It's the
Today's the
10th.
mosquito day.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the two that I talked to.
You're
Again,
live here.
I would lean toward Susie
And
and Janet.
if I'm understanding correctly, it's no cost to us to have them both on, like, retainer or whatever you want. I mean, if she needed to call up the other guy just because she needed to for some reason, then I don't know, but
That's
either
your
way.
call. Would you
Yeah.
rather have them both on the line, or would you rather just stick
I
with one?
think I'd kind of like to stick to one,
Yeah.
but it could, because they could have difference
Sure.
in the ways that they do some stuff. The only thing I thought I might do is go back to Jay and talk to his person that would probably be working with me. It'd be kind of nice to talk to her.
Yeah.
But,
Was,
I mean, my gut was telling
Well,
me,
good. That's-
these two.
that's good.
I think that is the same advice I got from Jody Rankin, who is going through a very similar thing. Now, Jody has the advantage of having worked for the school corporation, so she understands the State Board of Accounts accounting piece of it, but that was her gut.
Okay, good. And I still have yet to call her. I need to do that.
I think it'd be good for you to have a relationship
Yeah.
with her.
I
Yeah.
do too.
Well, and,
The two
like
of
you
you
said, we
might,
have Carla. Yeah,
the two of you
the
might find you
same
can call
as-
each other before you call your consultant.
Yeah.
Hey, have you already talked to somebody about this? Could you help me out?
Well, and she said that that when the women come, that they stay in New Harmony when they're working for Poseyville. So it could be some cost sharing, see?
Oh,
Mhm.
That could be that, so
Yeah, you might want to discuss that with them in the contract, that if you are, can we come to an understanding that if you're coming down to see both Poseyville and us, that you're not gonna bill us both for the hotel room? You know what I mean? Just,
Okay, good idea. Okay.
Are they billing for stuff like that as well?
Well,
Expenses,
I'm
or
sure
they
just
will.
don't?
yeah, for
They
will
travel,
if
I
they're for
assume the
travel.
contract says it.
Okay.
Well, might I suggest a way of going forward here, because if they have a contractual, relationship, well, given the fact this is the clerk treasurer's office, might she have the authority to sign that contract and do it herself? I think she probably does. I don't think that's something you need to sign necessarily, is it?
We just gotta pay it.
Yeah, we have to approve the
We have to
payments.
approve the
But
payment.
we approve those payments in the docket every month.
It's
Do we need a
nothing.
motion for that? Do we
Well,
need-
that's what I was
Approve the
wondering. Do we need a
payments.
motion to approve of this relationship? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to have one.
Yeah, just approve the
Well, it's
cost.
an endorsement
Yeah,
anyway.
an endorsement or,
I was thinking about this morning. Does that pose a bigger question about how independent Ann's office is currently? Because she's not an elected official, she's a hire of the town board.
She's still clerk
Well,
treasurer.
she's
though.
an
It's
no,
independent
she's
office.
she's
appointed.
not, she didn't have any, she's not
She's a
a,
legally appointed clerk treasurer.
she's elected, well, she's not elected
Yeah.
yet, but she's totally independent from
I
us.
think the title still covers her independence.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah.
I would think, I'm not a lawyer, of
So-
course, but
So really the difference with Carla was she's going to still be an employee, and that has to be through our salary ordinance. I might suggest that, well, let me go ahead and put it in the form of a motion. I would move that, that we endorse and approve the contracting of an additional, consultant at our clerk treasurer's interest, and we agree to, pay for, the costs of
fees.
those contract. Cause I think that independent says it's her job to pick who she wants. I don't think
Okay.
it's her job to pick who she wants, it's our job to make sure it gets paid for.
I
So
kinda
my
look
motion
at
is to say that we understand that she's going to be, hiring someone
for a consultant.
additional to Carla's relationship, and that we acknowledge and will approve the payment on a monthly basis.
Okay, I kind of look at it like you coming forward and saying, we're gonna use Tom Guggenheim for this amount. Do you guys approve or not? So I guess it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I understand.
So I think I got a motion. You're taking minutes. Did you get that?
Yes, I got Rod moves that we endorse and approve the contracting of an additional consultant and we agree to pay the cost. I will fine tune it.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion?
So that was the motion,
That was
Rod?
I made the
and
motion,
a
Tom
second.
seconded.
Tom, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries.
And good luck. I
Yes,
mean, we
yes.
want to support you, and
Exactly.
we want this to be a smooth transition for everybody,
And do it the
including
way
you.
that you're comfortable with.
We want you to be successful in what you're doing here, so.
And thanks to them and Carla both for being willing to help out
Well,
there.
thank you.
For
I
sure.
appreciate it because I'm getting there.
Good.
You can see how
I
these,
can pay bills and, take in
Write checks.
receipts right now
Hey,
really
that's
well.
good. Those are the
That's a
two
good
big
start.
things,
That's a good
yes.
Okay, next on our agenda is town marshal hiring. Of course, we all met in executive session, reviewed 7 resumes down from 43, I believe was the total count we had. We had some great people of interest. We had some great discussion, I believe, and
We ended
now
up
it's time to
with,
pick one.
well, we ended up with 43 applicants, I think.
Something like that, 43 applicants.
and we
Narrow-
interviewed 7.
Narrowed down to 7 of the top candidates, interviewed 7, and in private discussions with most of you, I think we all kind of have in mind one, but we need to vote and confirm what we're thinking.
So you want a motion on a specific person? Is that
Yes.
what
Well,
you're doing?
Yes, we have
can, and
to.
then we can discuss the specifics of that agreement.
Okay, I make a motion that the town of New Harmony hires Justin Block as our next town marshal.
Okay, we have a motion for Justin Block
I second.
and a second. Okay, discussion. As we all know, I'll start, I've never hired a town marshal, so, there's a lot to learn and I'm learning slowly. I will tell you that our deputy, Aaron, Straub is working closely, with who he thought was gonna be. We thought we're gonna make an offer to
Justin, meaning Justin.
Justin, yeah, to get him lined out on what he needed to get done in this period. He is not a certified police officer now, but more than willing to go through that process. So they are working together closely on equipment, on training, on certifications. I know I talked to Justin yesterday. He called with some questions. That what if that he's doesn't even have to take some of the things like weapon training and stuff. He's passed and cleared on all those kind of things already.
Oh, from
which are-
his military
from his
experience.
I'm sorry, I'll back up and say he 16 years retired out of the United States Air Force, MP tactical stuff, MP training, trained 5,200 cadets a year for the United States Air Force in the MP as an MP.
Military
Military
police.
police.
Yeah, I think,
So-
I think that's important. Look, we don't have anybody here at our meeting this
Yeah.
morning, but I think, I want
Them
our
to know.
constituents to
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
this guy's been a cop for
Why
a very
he's
long
chosen,
time.
yeah.
He was a
Just in the
military
military,
police.
yeah.
And it's unfortunate that even though he's got, whatever, 20 years as a military police, and he, in the interview process, he talked about how he always had to work with the civilian polices, so
Yeah.
very familiar, understands it all. But
And where was that?
But that doesn't automatically approve him to bypass all the academy and everything. He's got to go through the civilian training and everything, which should be relatively layup for him. But he's got a lot of experience. We're hiring a cop that's been a cop here.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure everybody
Yes,
understood that.
exactly.
Tom, go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just trying to recall, he was in Arizona, what Air Force base was that?
Well,
What
he was,
the
I know
city
he was
close
Kirkland Air
to?
Force Base in Colorado. I
Colorado.
believe, was
Colorado,
the main
mostly.
one, but I know,
And what was the city he was close to?
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, he
The
mentioned-
last one was in Arizona, yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
that
what
was
he was
Albuquerque.
referring to, as having
Yes.
lots of experience with,
Working with
on
him.
and off the base.
on and off.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
exactly, working with all kind of people and
Working
stuff
with
too. Yeah.
other police departments and getting that experience.
That was
Okay,
Albuquerque, I remember.
That's right, okay.
now I guess, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, we may need to, what we need to discuss is the years of service,
Right.
requiring payback or not on our investment. I know Rod had some ideas we discussed, and I've had some. Connie, I've discussed a little with you. Hadn't had a chance with you, Tom, or Laura either, but I spoke with Justin in trying to figure this out, and I said, 3 or 4 years of longevity commitment to us to get, for him not have to pay anything back on his uniforms or anything, or his training and certification. So if you guys have other ideas, or Rod had mentioned maybe prorating it after a year or two and on down to the 3 or 4 years, whatever we asked for a commitment on, so that's open for
I think that's
discussion.
fair, yeah.
My-
do
my-
too.
3 or
so,
4
so,
years sounds a little extreme right off the bat.
Yeah,
If we were
yeah.
gonna go that route, I'd say 1.5 or 2 years,
well, to make it clear, we're talking about the cost of the academy.
yeah.
Getting
Roughly
his certification.
$12,000.
Oh,
I think.
Is that what it is?
I thought it was 8 to
Roughly.
10.
So
But I
that's,
don't know an exact number,
Yeah.
but it's.
so
yeah.
it's roughly $10,000 to $12,000 there, the cost of his uniforms, the
Right.
cost of a weapon if he chooses, well, we already have a weapon.
We
He
have
can,
one. If
he
he
could use
chooses
his
to have
own
his
if he
own,
chooses
he
to.
can.
And his safety vests, perhaps camera,
Safety vest, 2,000. Aaron recommended he have a body camera. Our former
because
town marshal chose not to
most
wear
all
one.
of them do now, and so
Yeah,
body camera, uniform,
Taser.
protective vests and everything, and the price of the academy.
Okay,
so
So-
20 grand is
Yeah,
what
we're
we're talking.
probably
Probably
pushing.
talking 20 grand.
That's
probably
what we're
pushing.
investing in him to be.
That's correct.
So my suggestion, I'll throw it out there, not as a motion, but just as a suggestion was, okay, that if he leaves in the first year he's got to reimburse us 100%. If he leaves between the first year, after the first year, if he leaves in between years 1 and 3, then he owes half of it back to us. And then after he's been here 3 years, then no harm, no foul. That would be my suggestion. Now, if you all got other ideas, throw them out. You said 4, I'm using 3.
Yeah, it was nothing in stone.
I think that's fair.
In employment law, man, you go much out past 3 years and you start getting a little edgy on whether or not you can, it becomes kind of a no-compete kind
Hopefully
of
we'll
thing.
feel that we've gotten our investment.
Yeah, I mean, after 3 years, if he's here 3 years, we've got our
We're
investment
not
back.
paying, that
Or, you know, just in my brain, 2 years, 100%, 3 years, he's off the hook. Hang on to him for 2 years, for sure.
2 years is nothing.
I know, it's not. I mean, I'm just saying,
I like
I'm
this
saying-
better. I'm going with,
prorate at that
yeah,
one.
and then
that's
3, yeah,
Okay. That's what I was saying, though. I don't think you understood me. 2 years,
100%.
he's gotta get his 100% back. And then 3 years, he's done. He's off the hook. That's why I was.
What would you do
I was
between
trying to
years
work
2
out.
and 3?
50.
What would you do
50.
between years 2 and 3?
If he made it 2 years, he's at 50%, so.
Okay, you're saying
Well, so you're
50%.
saying 50%. I
Yeah,
thought you were
yeah.
saying nothing after 2 years.
No, I'm saying that 2 years, it drops to 50%. And at
Okay.
the end of the
You
third year,
admitted
he's
that.
off the hook.
So you're just taking what I said and instead
add
of
it
1
just-
year, you're saying 2
Yeah,
years.
Yes,
at the
exactly.
front, he's adding
Exactly.
another
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, a commitment of 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me though, either way, whatever you guys. And
Well, we
that part
were
of it's not in
just-
the motion
Just
anyway.
for the public's interest, we were very emphatic in all the interviews that we're looking for somebody here who's not gonna turn and burn this position.
Longevity, yeah.
And we got comfortable with Justin because he is retired military. He's got his military pension. He's not gonna need any benefits. I'm sorry, he's not gonna need any medical. His healthcare is
That's what he
coming
said.
through the VA. And he talked like, man, this is a dream retirement job. I'm not looking to go anywhere else. But of course, our last guy said that too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
2 years, 100%, between 2 and 3, 50%.
that's fine with me, if it is with you guys. Is that all right? Do you want yours?
We
I
can
don't care.
compromise and go a year and a half, you guys.
No, I don't care. We can go a year, I don't,
That's okay too, right? We don't have to
Yeah.
keep it 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, a year and a half.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
100%.
you want to make a motion?
Okay. I'll
well,
make
we
a
have a
motion.
motion and a second on the table
No, we don't.
to hire him, yes, we did.
To hire
Then
him.
we
Oh, that's
started the
right.
discussion.
That's
So
right.
now we're talking about the
Well, you're
agreement.
kind of
so
amending the
Do we
original
wanna
motion.
roll it all into one or to have two separate?
Let's do two separate. Let's
Yeah, I
hire
think it'd
him.
be easy.
Okay.
Let's hire him.
Let's
And then
hire
we'll
him.
hire him based on our next.
I call the question on hiring.
Okay, all right. All right, all in favor of hiring Justin Block as our new town marshal?
Hey,
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Okay, now with the agreement discussion, we talked about the years of service. We can go with whatever you choose. We'll go with whatever motion is made. I'm okay either way, whatever we do it. And we're gonna supply uniforms and equipment and, of course,
Training.
Camera,
car.
taser.
Yeah, taser, the gun, vest, camera.
Why don't we
Uniform.
just say whatever equipment
and
is
that's what I wrote down,
required?
uniforms and equipment provided.
yeah, I don't think you
That's
need to
what it
list them out.
No.
And I think
Okay.
it's,
I
because
enjoy
we
hearing
might
the
forget
list of them.
something.
Yeah, but that's,
Yeah.
that's part of.
Necessary equipment to do
That's
the
what the
job.
equipment is, what
Right.
his choices, right, of what he needs to be safe, and,
I think what we are doing here, though, just to be clear, is we are saying now, though, that we are gonna supply our town marshal with taser and camera.
camera. which
Because we have
hadn't.
not done that in the past. So in this, we're acknowledging that,
Right.
yes, that, we're considering that part of his protective equipment that we're gonna supply. Because we've not done that in the past.
Okay, so I make a motion that,
Hang on first, because there's a little bit more. We didn't talk about pay at all in the
Oh,
hiring,
that's
so,
right.
that's on here as part of the agreement.
Oh, that's right. That-
40-hour
this will be
week,
part of this conversation.
$55,000 salary per year, which breaks down to $1,057.69 per week, or $26.44 per hour is what it breaks
What was
down
the
to.
salary again?
So,
55,000 per year is
Okay,
what we discussed anyway, so. And then the requirements of drug test, background check. The academy, I think, requires a physical pass, so I don't know if we want to add that to ours, but if the academy does, I don't think we have to.
I don't know if I get to talk, but
Yeah.
Okay, just so you know,
Discussion.
a drug test by the town of New Harmony is only required of the people that have to mess with gas. And we have to do it, like Anita and I, because we get the phone calls and we have to fill out the forms and we have to notify the correct people. This person does not have to be drug tested,
Okay.
but we can, it's your call.
Our practice has always been to do so.
Employees. It doesn't matter to me on that either.
I don't think we did, Chad.
He's been made aware that that was
Okay,
kind of one of the things that were on the list.
with this guy, I don't think it's an issue at all.
I don't know, he
He's
had
as
no
clean as a
problem,
whistle,
he
I
had no
mean.
problem with it. We can just put his recommended drug test,
Well-
background check.
Okay,
And
I'm
that's-
glad you brought that up. You don't think,
I mean,
hit the button on the side, it'll kill it.
Right side. Got you, got
I didn't know that we didn't do Chad. Okay, so really what you're saying is every employee that we have is involved with the gas side, with the exception of the town marshal.
correct.
Okay, I just thought we did all employees, but that makes sense.
Mhm.
We do all employees because they're all involved with gas somehow.
He's gonna get this at the academy, I don't think it's necessary.
I don't know if he gets that at the academy physical. I think as I read on this tier 2 thing
Okay.
that they required a physical at the academy, so. But
He'll
that's
be okay with it either way, right? So-
Yeah, either way. We can put that as recommended or
Well, I'm just,
We need to
we don't
decide.
have our counselor here, but I'm wondering if in our ordinances where we say drug tests are required, if it specifically says something, if we could, I don't know if we could legally require him to get one if the ordinance doesn't say that we require him to get one.
we'll just leave that off then.
I would suggest we leave it off till we look at that one a little closer, because
Okay.
we can only do what our ordinances say, and if we don't say that we require all employees to get one, then I'm not sure we could legally make him.
And I see your point.
Yeah.
It's-
Okay,
I don't think it's I'm like
I don't
Tom,
think
I don't think this
it's
is an
not-
issue, but
No, I don't either.
background check would be the only requirement that we'll add to that.
And we should.
Yes, exactly.
We don't do those. We don't do background tests, true. Background checks.
yeah, I
We
don't,
have, I know we did when, I think it was Terry we hired.
I don't know that we did,
Ask Carla about that.
and I'm not quite sure.
I know we did a background check on somebody recently, cause I was in here when she was saying they gotta have their background check. I feel like it was Terry. Terry Brown.
And I don't know what doing a background check means.
I don't even-
That can mean,
Well,
Ann and I are old HR people, that is a blanket term people throws out there that could mean,
Well, isn't
yeah,
it-
I called his former employer.
Right, isn't
No,
that just
it's
confirming
not.
what they have on
no,
there?
it's
No,
a
it's a-
state legal requirement
Yeah.
when you volunteer for the university.
Yeah.
You have to give them permission to get a
Well, they're
background check.
private
But-
services
Yeah,
that.
but he's right, it can be doing a reference check, or it can mean, I'm gonna go back 3 years and look at
Yeah.
history, it can be financials,
It
it
could,
can be.
yeah, it could mean a whole bunch of stuff. And you basically hire private companies that do that.
Mhm.
I mean, you pay them, say, I need a background check, and then they're gonna ask, do you want financials? Do you want, just,
One was
do you-
not on Indeed.
do you
but
just
I
want
think it
arrests?
bonded.
Do you
Wow.
just want arrests? Do you just, you tell them, how deep you wanna go here?
Well, I do know that the town marshal can handle money.
Well, he'll have to get
Along with
bonded.
the,
He'll have to
okay.
get bonded.
So perhaps that's the kind of background check we're talking about, isn't it?
He'll have to be bonded, because he does handle money.
So that'll automatically put him through some sort of background
Yeah.
check to get.
Yeah, the bonding
Yeah.
company won't
Is it
bond
a
him unless
finan-
he's,
Is it a financial background
I
check
don't think
then?
so. I don't think so.
That you,
Oh,
that
for-
you had?
for the
yeah.
bond?
Yeah, I just went, they asked me a bunch of questions, I filled out some forms and.
you talking about for this job?
For my job.
Yeah, that's to be
For
bonded.
my
Current.
job.
That was to be
Current.
bonded.
To be bonded.
Yeah,
Right,
but
so-
that's
To be
what you're
bonded.
saying about,
Right.
I
so-
would say getting him bonded's probably,
I'll look into it.
Well, Chad was bonded because he took money at the
Right.
park. so-
Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
need them all bonded
Yeah.
because they're handling money.
Yeah,
We'll investigate the background check. I feel like it's something that needs to be on there.
We
I'm
can put it
sure
on.
we've done it since I've been here on somebody, because I remember talking to Carla about
well,
it.
I would
She
be
had to wait on their
satisfied through the
background check
bonding
to come in.
process. I don't think we need to consider it any further than that. We're gonna have him bonded, and that's part of his job, and that will suffice, in my mind. That'll be an adequate background check, as it was for Ann. We're all happy that,
Well,
because we were very suspicious of Ann, and now that she's bonded, we know she's on the up and up.
well, I will give you an example, Tom, just to
Okay.
play devil's advocate. We found out later that one of the 7 people that we interviewed had restraining order.
Multiple.
Okay,
Let me
okay.
see.
Yeah.
If you go get bonded, they're not gonna check whether or not you have a criminal or any kind of legal issues like that. They're just looking at the financial
I
side.
got you.
So that's what I meant. There's a lot of nuance when we say, oh yeah, we're gonna do a background check. Well, what the heck are we talking
Is that
about?
the sex registry,
Uh,
that kind of,
I don't know. I don't know.
that is a specific
Well,
thing?
yes, that would be part of it,
Yeah,
that would
sex
be.
offender
that-
registry.
That could be part of the
That-
background check that you do. I'm not saying
Are
that
you
guy that
eligible
we
to drive a
interviewed.
Vehicle, kind
Right.
of things, you know what I mean?
Right.
Can you drive and get a license?
What do we need to do to find out the proper avenue for this background check?
I'll find out, but I
Okay.
mean, it's
Ask
been done
Aaron.
here since I've been here, I know that.
Okay.
So,
I
just
would
don't
say
remember
that we
who
go
it was
ahead
taken down.
and pass
Include
this with the 2 of you sorting out
Yeah, and if we don't need it, if he doesn't need it, we don't need it.
whether or not it's necessary, so we can move
I'm
on.
not worried about him, that's not
Right.
part
Well,
of it,
right.
just,
This is something
Trying to cover
important,
all the
though, that we need
bases,
to
yeah.
talk about on whether or
Yeah.
not all of our employees, what kind of background check do we
Yeah.
want to do? And
Right.
maybe with that needs a little more investigation than we got time for here
yeah,
today.
and
Yeah,
again,
I
it's,
agree.
none of us have hired a town well, you haven't hired a town
Yeah.
marshal. Yeah, you did, you
Tom
were
and I
in
were
on
on
that, y'all
board.
were in on that.
Yeah,
You
we
were.
hired
I haven't
Chad,
hired a town marshal, so.
and
Okay.
I don't recall,
Okay, so,
I guarantee it wasn't in the ordinance if we were doing it or not.
okay, so that's what I had down on the agreement side of things, and Ann, if you had anything else that you needed to add, I know Ann told me this morning she was gonna, it's kind of required that you present to him what our health care is and stuff, our plan and stuff, in case he chose to use
I
it.
thought I'd
or
do a
whatever.
hire letter for him.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just kind of
Oh,
outlines
Yeah.
everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Things we need,
That's a
you know,
great
and stuff.
idea.
And I already talked to Nathan about it, and I'll run it by him first.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
great, yeah. So then you can include these. He did ask if he was hired, that he would quickly need something confirming that he was hired as our town marshal. So
And-
as he went to buy things, and he needs to know the information of how the billing, he didn't want to pay 12,000 out of his pocket, of course, and stuff, just how they get the invoicing done or whatever to us to cover what he's buying and things like that for the job, so.
With the passage of an ordinance here, I think
Yeah, that
she
should
can
be
handle
ready
that.
once we've already hired him, so she can officially say he's our guy, so.
So even if it's not a full hire letter with all the details and stuff in it that we're still working out, I can send him a letter that said we have
Confirming.
formally,
He's hired, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, all right, we need a motion on the agreements of the contract for the town marshal or whatever you would call it,
Compensation agreement,
compensation
it's
agreement.
not a contract. That's a legal term, it's
That's
not,
okay.
yeah,
No,
it's,
that's-
You doing that?
it's a compensation agreement.
Sure. So my motion is that he be required to be with us a year and a half. Otherwise, he would have to reimburse us fully. And then between a year and a half and 3 years, if he chose to leave, he would have to reimburse 50%. Beyond that, he's free and clear. And this includes uniforms and equipment, the costs.
And you gotta get salary in there.
And we're hiring him at 40 hours a week with a annual salary of 55,000.
With a background check.
With some.
After Background check.
Yeah, after a background check, okay.
I second.
And a second. All right, any other discussion? We're learning, all of us, right? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, motion carries. All right, last but not least on our agenda was fire hydrants.
Yeah, this got left off the last meeting because I was out of town and everything. And I tell you what, I ran to my office real quick before I came over here and I meant to bring with you. I emailed it all to you. Hopefully you had a chance to look to it. So at the last meeting, when we approved the purchase of the hardware, meaning the fire hydrants and the valves and all that stuff, not to exceed whatever it was, 18,000. So the labor on doing all this is a company that's always done it. They've done all the other ones, so they know exactly what to do and everything, is a company called Blankenberg Brothers. Here is their rate sheet. They will not give us a hard quote on it because when they get into projects like this, they're like,
It's totally understandable.
it might take twice as long as they thought it was going to because a valve is stuck, they can't get it off, or whatever. So I'm not positive sure that we need to pass a motion to approve this, but just to be safe, I would move that we engage Blankenberger, get them scheduled to do the work at their rate sheet, whatever it turns out to be.
And how many hydrants are we talking about?
3, I think.
No, 5.
Five.
There are 5 plus removal of 3.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There are 3 non-functioning that we're going to remove that have the black bags over them,
Right.
and then replace 5.
Okay.
And I'll
That's
leave
all
I'll leave
part
to the
of-
motion at that, and then I got.
That's all part of that bid, all 8 of those then.
That is correct. Well, the 3 of the removal, these guys would be doing
Yeah.
it. So
And
yeah,
what
it'd
are
be
we
part of
So
it.
talking
the
about
labor's on that,
financially
too.
there then?
Well, Tom, I don't. Well,
I know.
There it is. There's the rate sheet.
That's the rate sheet.
It talks about hours.
Right,
to
no
do so.
speculation though?
No.
On what it could cost, no range?
No.
They're the only ones that do it.
Unless we look back at what
They have
it
a good
costs
thing
on the
going,
last
don't
round
they?
of 3,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wow.
That's,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Hmm.
So you made that motion?
I made the motion to
And you-
engage Blankenberger at their rate sheet to do the project.
Did you second? Nobody, you
Nobody
got a
seconded.
second? I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Well, no, I mean, it needs to be done. I just hate writing a blank check to a company like that. You know, I would almost wanna,
Estimate?
well, or separate it, you know, have them do a couple. Or the 3 black bag ones first, see how much that costs.
Well, let me remind you, the 5 that we're replacing
Right,
are semi-non-functioning.
okay, never mind. We need to do it at any cost.
They're old valves that when the fire department comes, hooks up,
They can't get it.
well, they may or they may not.
I see, I see.
I think historically, we've used them probably doing this.
That
haven't
we have, yes.
Everybody
No,
uses
yeah,
them.
yeah,
I don't know.
right, right.
Yeah.
No, I remember paying them previously, we did them annually,
Now-
a few at a time.
Well, I would move that we go
We've-
ahead.
we've got a
and-
motion
Yeah,
and
we
a
got a motion,
second.
and then I'll have a couple other
All in
comments.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay,
motion
let me make sure that both council and the public knows and understands what this process will be. The day that they do this, water will be shut off to the town.
Right.
The whole
So,
town?
yes, so we will have to have a communications to say, especially to all our businesses in town, all the restaurants and everybody, the nursing home, everybody, we will need to let them know, well in advance that this is the date that water will be shut off. Brian tells me that he thinks that one day we'll probably do it. But if they got into some snafu or problem, it might extend over another day, and then there will be a boil order probably for a week after that.
So if it extended for another day, it doesn't get turned on at night and then back off the next day to work on it?
I can't answer that question.
It depends on
I
where
can't,
it's at.
well, even if it did, there'll be a boil order, so
Yeah, yeah, I
this is
understand.
our last step of getting this done. It won't come without some pain,
Yeah.
but
So this
nonetheless,
is
we
this
gotta
the
get it
last
done.
grouping that'll
Yes.
be done? This is it then?
Yes, this is the
Can
last.
you
We'll have head-
recommend to them when they come in?
Yeah, we'll know.
We
well
will,
ahead.
I
It's like
mean,
a
we
Tuesday
will,
or
they will,
Wednesday.
we'll probably not
A lot
ask
of
them to come
businesses
Coons Fest
close.
weekend,
Yeah, of
or
course.
something like that,
Yeah.
but we'll have to plan ahead. And it may be the sort of thing to where we really plan it out. I don't know. I'll talk to Brian about
Tuesday,
it.
Wednesday
Maybe
would be ideal.
maybe a couple months out or something, you know.
I'm on vacation.
Well,
I'll be sure to
No,
leave
yeah.
town.
Well,
A
Get
lot
some
of
porta
businesses
potties
are
around.
closed in town.
We
Yeah, no,
will,
it's-
we
it's
will
the
try
ideal
to
2 days,
work it
Tuesday,
to where
Wednesday.
it's the least inconvenience for everybody.
Right.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn the special meeting?
I so move.
In a second,
Second?
meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Turn off.